Hello everybody, this is Dave with the Liberty Guys. What I want to do today is go over a few things. Now, over the past few days, there's been a bunch of people see my last video, and I'm glad, I really am. But what I don't want to happen is complacency to sit in. People need to actually act on this urge they have, this sense of duty now that they actually have one. And I feel like, some people are coming around and they're understanding that they need to get their gun out and blow the dust off of it, and and practice with it, and get comfortable with drawing from cover and with things of that nature. And excuse me, it feels like I've stepped into a spider web. But I see all of these coy little posts and stuff on Facebook. It says what if, got a person up with a picture with a gun in the small of their back or whatever. Don't let it just be that and nothing else. Don't be the person that poses, okay? A poser is a person who acts like they're going to do something but doesn't actually do it. So don't be that person. Be the person that actually gets up off their duff and acts on it. All right? Get out and shoot your gun. Practice with it some. Go buy 2 boxes of shells, one to use for carry and one to use for practice. All right? Don't just buy one. Buy 2. They're not super expensive. If you can't afford 2 boxes of shells, then buy one and shoot half of them, and carry the other half, or shoot them all but one magazine or whatever your carry loadout is, and save enough for your loadout. But you need trigger time, and you need to practice dry gun drills where you practice drawing and getting a sight picture, so it becomes muscle memory. Until you do it enough to get that, it's not going to help you. You're going to fumble and you're going to panic, and you're going to become a liability is what you're going to do. So don't be a liability. Be an asset and practice with your gun to where you're proficient with it. People drive a car for 20 years and they do it almost autonomously. You see people driving down the road reading books, okay? It's because they practice it zillions of times. It's still dangerous to drive down the road reading a book, but they successfully do it because they've driven so much. The deployment of your defensive firearm should be the same way. All right. Okay. I keep getting these. I guess you could call it liberals. It's either naysayers or trolls or whatever they are. But you see these people who post. They'll have a thread going, and they'll be talking about, I'm going to get my gun out and practice, and great, I'm glad you are. You see it on Facebook. Well, then somebody will hop in there, and they'll have to put their 2 cents in, and they'll say, oh, it ain't going to do you no good. He had on body armor and a Kevlar helmet, and he had a rifle and a shotgun. Okay, well, he had all that crap when the cops showed up, and they seemed to manage to subdue him just fine without a single shot fired. So, is it just because they're cops? No, it's because someone was willing to face him, okay? People like this don't expect resistance. The moment they see resistance, they cave or they fall back because they're scared and they run away. They don't have the mindset that somebody's going to fight back. Okay, the idea that just because he had on a bulletproof vest makes him invincible it's a bunch of baloney. The femoral arteries in the legs will bleed you to death in just minutes. They proved that in the 30s. The most common way for the gangsters in Chicago to kill somebody was they would ride by in one of their cars and they'd lean out the window with a shotgun and they'd shoot them in the calf, and it was shredded. Well, they'd bleed to death before they could stop it. It worked every time. So they wouldn't shoot them in the chest; they'd shoot them in the lower leg, and they'd shred that lower leg and they'd bleed out. Well, if you're wearing body armor, guess what? Your lower legs are exposed. You have to think. Now, bear in mind, if he's wearing a bulletproof vest, when that first round inbound hits him, it's going to feel like someone hit him in the chest with a claw hammer that they've swung as hard as they possibly can swing one. Now, you've hit your thumb with a hammer before, all right? You wasn't swinging it as hard as possible. Typically, you're starting a nail and you're just pecking on it. Now, draw back with everything you've got and hit yourself in the chest with that claw hammer. Hit somebody with it. Don't actually do that. That's just, it's metaphorical. But it's a lot of energy, okay? And what it's going to do is going to knock the wind out of them. It's going to stun them. And then when you see they don't fall down, well, second of all, there should be a second round following in right behind it. You should always put at least 2 on target to make sure that the target's neutralized. But if he takes 2 to the chest and he's still standing, he's probably wearing a vest. Move down and put 2 in the pelvis and see what that does for effect. If he doesn't have the growing guard, you just broke his hip. He's done. So that's why training is so important. Because people will panic. They'll shoot once, it doesn't phase him, and then they panic. So it turns into a whole. A person without training is a liability and not an asset. That's why I say it's so important to practice. You have to take firearm carry very seriously. It's not something to be trifled with or just lightly considered. You consider it lightly, you're going to get yourself killed, or you're going to inadvertently kill somebody that's not needing to be shot at. It won't be an accidental discharge. You'll deliberately fire the round that'll kill someone's 9-year-old daughter. You see my point? You don't want to be that person. Okay, so you need to have training. You need to know what rule number 4: know your target and what lies beyond it, and know that your 9mm round could easily pass through this guy's chest, out his back, and hit that 9-year-old girl. You got to know without a shadow of a doubt, because it's a lot of energy to wield in your hand. It's very dangerous, and people don't need to take it lightly. But what I don't want people to do is not take it at all. Post a bunch of pictures, and then it dies down in 3 weeks, except for the legislation. Now we're getting to the next phase of this video. Mayor Bloomberg of the city of New York has been thumping his chest on every TV show that he can find an outlet to about how we need better gun control because of this mess. Okay, he's a mayor over a city with some of the strictest gun control in the country. Remember in the other video how I talked there's probably a column on their spreadsheet that says death by shootings in a city that doesn't have guns? How is that possible? I'll tell you how it's possible. Because freaking gun control don't work. That's how it's possible. Alright? I mean, the only people that you're going to affect with gun control are the ones that don't need it. Alright? The people that don't need gun control, the good people, the law-abiding people, that's the only people that will be affected by it, because they're the only ones that are going to follow it. You think, okay, well, if we take all the guns off the streets, then the criminals can't get their hands on them. Bullcrap. There's hundreds of millions of guns in circulation on this planet. If you took 1,000 a day off the street, it would take decades and decades, probably centuries, to round them all up and melt them down. The next problem is they're the government. They're going to have guns. All right? If they have guns, civilians with brains, and every human being has one of them in their head, can work things out, are going to steal a gun from the government. Ta-da! You haven't stopped it, and you never will. Now, what I find odd is Mayor Bloomberg, I guarantee you, has a security detail that's well armed, but he don't want you to have a gun. Where's the right in that? Yeah, he don't carry guns, but it's because he's probably got 18 guys that surround him that are carrying heavily, and they're all well trained. Yes, I guarantee you, most of them are probably ex-military, and they're probably ex-special forces, and they've probably all got a bunch of civilian training since then. These guys are pros. He's not going to hire some haphazard fly-by-night bunch of guys to protect him. He's going to hire the best he can get. So, yeah, that's a bunch of crap. So, gun control ain't going to work. It ain't going to fix anything. It's just a colossal waste of time, energy, and resources. Our government is going to try to fix this with legislation. It's like fixing a leaking dam with legislation. Okay? You can't fix something like this with a piece of paper with a bunch of signatures on it. It's just not possible. So don't fall for that. If and when, it's not really if, it's when the bill comes before Congress to do some sort of restrictions on firearms, tell your congressman don't vote for it, because it's just not good. It's not going to help anything. Okay, they got a mountain of freaking gun control laws already, and it ain't helping. One more is not going to fix this. All right. Ever since Columbine all the way to today, they've enacted a bunch of regulations, and they haven't even enforced all of the ones they already had. And kind of be glad, because some of them are pretty draconian. That's already floating around on books, and it's not getting them anywhere. It's because that won't fix this. What will fix this will be people taking responsibility for their own safety and security. That's the only way you're going to fix this. It's just like I said in my other video. Where was the 200 or 300 privately owned concealed carry firearms? They weren't there because people were playing by the rules and either A, left them in their car because you're not supposed to carry it in a movie theater, or B, they were just too complacent. It can't happen to me. Ta-da, it can happen. Alright? It can freaking happen to anybody. It don't take but about 3 seconds to thumb through Fox News and find some kind of malicious act that's happened somewhere in this country every day. Somebody's wife's come up missing. They found her body in a river. Somebody's kids got kidnapped. Somebody's house got broke in because they posted on Facebook they went on vacation and all their crap got stolen. Somebody in Florida got shot. It's every day. And it's not the same places, and it's not always urban areas, it's not always rural areas. It's a big mixture, okay? And just don't let yourself be that guy who gets his gun and says, yeah, I got a gun, I'm okay now. Don't be that guy. Be the guy that actually practices with his firearm until he's proficient with it, goes and takes some professional training so he'll understand there's fundamentals that will help him be a more proficient shooter, that will be more accurate on target, and be able to deliver those rounds where he needs them to go in a very rapid fashion that's conducive to winning the fight, not just haphazardly spraying lead halfway across the target area in hopes that one of them will connect with the bad guy and the other 19 you fired don't connect with innocent people. You hear about these gangland shootings where they do drive-bys and they shoot kids and stuff. It's because they don't let them have training. It's kind of good for us that they don't, but sort of. In all reality, I kind of wish they did, because then they would successfully kill their rival gang members and they wouldn't shoot all them innocent people around them. You see my point? That's because they got no training. They see something on TV and they see how they do it in a movie, and that's what they base it on. They don't base it on real world information. They base it on what information they do have. Come on, people. All right. We don't need to fall for the government feel-good legislation, because it's not going to work. They've done it 1,000 times in the past, and 1,000 times in the past, and ain't fixed nothing. Don't be the person who is complacent and just posts a nice note on Facebook and doesn't do anything to actually help the situation. And don't be the person that's all negative about how it's pointless to engage an individual like this. I mean, the two bank robbers that had the shootout with the LA cops back in the 90s. Now, you think, okay, these guys had breech entry armor. One of them took, I don't remember how many hundreds of hits, and he didn't go down until the cops started thinking, and they shot his legs out from under him. All you have to do is use that piece of equipment up inside there, and it'll help you get further along than anything you can buy that you can stick on the outside. All right. The first thing a lot of schools will teach you is avoidance is the best solution to a gunfight. All right. If it's unavoidable, then engage with the most aggressive brutality you can come up with, because the faster you can end the fight, the better your chances are of sustaining less non-life-threatening injuries. You don't want to take damage if you can help it. Excuse me. But number one's avoidance. Well, these people were probably in an area where it wasn't a high crime area, so they were basically he set this whole thing up. He apparently it's someone wanting attention or something. I don't know. No one knows his motives, you know. But so with it being that situation, then several hundred people should have took the fight to him instead of standing there waiting patiently to be killed. You know, I don't get it. But if you can come up with oh crud, I had a comment and I forgot it straight out. But I was going to tell you to post something, and it just went, it's gone. But if you agree with me, post it below. If you don't agree with me, post it below. But yes, people even in body armor can be engaged. You just have to think about it, and you know it's more difficult, but it's doable. I mean, they're not invincible. They're still humans. Okay, they still feel bullets when it hits them. Just because they got armor on don't mean it don't hurt. Trust me. I've never been shot, even with a vest, but I have done a bunch of studying on it. And when they get hit with a 9mm and it leaves a bruise this big in the center of their chest, and then they talk about how it knocked the wind out of them. Trust me, when you're gasping for air, even if you didn't actually get perforated by the bullet, it got your attention. You're going to stop whatever you was doing and focus on getting the breath back in your lungs. Okay? And if the person doing the shooting would follow up with 2, 3, 4, or 5 rounds, trust me, it'll be effective. You know, don't think just because he's got a helmet on and a vest that you can't shoot him. All right, he can still be shot. So don't just give up. Okay, don't throw your hands up and go, oh, it was pointless. There's no point in trying. There's point in trying. Okay. Don't just give in and let them win. Get you some training, get you some ammo and practice. Do some dry practice without ammo, you know, because there's a bunch of fundamentals that you need to practice. It's just, I guess I'm repeating myself redundantly now, but it's just important that if you're gonna carry a firearm, you need to be proficient with it. You don't just need to carry one just to carry it. I wouldn't even recommend carrying one in your car and just keeping it in the car if you don't practice with it, because when it comes time to need it, you ain't gonna be able to deploy it, and you're gonna screw up and either A, shoot yourself trying to come across to come out the window with it. You're gonna sweep your leg and panic and fire around, or you're gonna shoot your car, or you're gonna forget to chamber it and the guy's just gonna take it away from you, charge it and kill you with it. I mean, it's just, don't give the bad guy your gun, okay? So, but just don't be that guy, okay? Just practice, and like I said, take some professional training. We teach it. There's 100 schools. There's probably more than that. There's a lot of good quality firearms instruction schools out there, okay? And it don't take long to find them. You can Google firearm instruction or tactical firearms or defensive pistol training, and you're going to get lots of hits, okay? You're going to get an incredible amount, and they're from coast to coast. Even the horrible state of California has pistol training institutes in it. So get you some training, all right? That's about all I got for today. Yeah. So hopefully I haven't ran it too long, but I just thought all that needed bringing up, since I've seen on Facebook the whole debacle with the mayor of New York trying to get gun control, and people posting all these little neat pictures and comments and stuff. I don't want them to just stop at the comments. I want them to take that motivation they have to post that picture and put it towards actually learning how to be proficient with their gun. Because I would like for everybody I know, and even the people I don't know, that I'm at the mall with or I'm at the movies with, I want all them people to be proficient with their firearm. Because if I've got 100 people around me that can shoot, then there's 101 of us now. See my point? So with that, I'm going to sign off, and I'm going to upload this guy. So we'll talk to you later. This is Dave with Liberty Guys. And keep your powder dry.